1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Welcome back to another season of Red Rising, and it's Red spelled R-E-A-D. We survived this freshman 15, made it out of the Institute with only moderate psychological damage, and are now ready to dive headfirst into Golden Sun, the book where Pierce Brown looked at escalation and said, not enough. This season, we each section into 2 episodes so we can fully unpack the chaos, betrayal, trauma, politics, and more cinematic insanity that should honestly be legal in a single set of chapters. In this episode, we kick things off with Darrow briefly sitting on top of the world at the academy before getting shoved off that pedestal at top speed. We watch him go full survival mode in the bizarre, vicious world of the Golds, reject help from his poetic, maybe friend, maybe enemy, Roke, and eventually accept help from a relative unknown at this point, Victra Al-Julii. She is of sharp wit, sharper instincts, and allegedly sensual lips. Things are getting dangerous, messy, and deeply personal, just the way we like it. And once again, if you are Pierce Brown and by some chance listening to this, our doors, mics, and dramatic monologues are open, please come on the podcast. The following conversation contains major spoilers for Pierce Brown's Red Rising trilogy. The series also includes depictions of graphic violence, torture, slavery, sexual violence, and genocide. Listener discretion is advised.
All good. How is everybody today? How'd everybody do with the news that... Oh, wait, that was an April Fool's joke.
What?
It was, but it was a quality April Fool's joke.
The book.
How, Nick, did you find it? Someone shared it with me. I did not see it originally. So how did you come upon that?
Oh, the sleuths on Reddit. But I'm thinking Pierce also posted it somewhere. I think
it was on Instagram.
Yeah.
And what was the notice? Who would like to explain?
It was just that Red God is not happening this year, and instead we're getting romantasy from Pierce Brown, which can that not be an April Fool's joke? Can we just get a romantasy from Pierce Brown, please?
I think those are some of the only circumstances under which I'd be okay with the delay.
Yeah. Exactly.
He heard us. He was like, they've just been asking for it. I will give it to them, except as a joke.
Yeah, we can't be the only ones.
No.
Yeah. So, shall we get into today's discussion?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Nick.
I had a clear take and Nick destroyed it earlier. So let's see if you can keep your mouth shut, Nick. No, actually, I'm not so concerned about Nick. I want to warn everybody in the room, that I was tasked with a high-level introduction to what we're covering today. So It's going to be high level. It's going to leave things out. Okay, but that's what the discussion is for.
Okay.
So unless I miss a major plot point, maybe we let me get through everybody. I'm not talking to anyone in particular.
This is season 2. We're stepping up our game.
So,
it is season 2. That's right.
We're all prepared to cover part 1, but for the purposes of the podcast, we'll be splitting part 1 into 2 parts. Chapters 1 through 6 and 7 through 11. So today we'll just cover 7 through 11, or 1 through 6. Damn it! I had it perfect before. So is everybody ready for a recap of what happened in 1 through 6?
What happened?
Okay, I'm so glad you asked. Part 1 is called Bow. The book opens with a prologue. It is Darrow leaving the Institute next to Nero, aka the man who killed his wife. We then jump to Darrow at 20 years old, so a year or so has passed, year or two. He's on a starship looking sharp in a gold uniform, and he's reflecting a bit on his time with Nero and on leaving Mustang behind, which he had to do. He left her on Luna, which is the moon. He's now at the academy, which is basically like grad school for golds, and he's commanding a ship. Roke is there. We meet Victra, that's Antonia's sister. Different last names. And they're set up against, also Tactus, right? Did I get the T word right? Yeah, okay. Tactus is there as well. They're set up against Carnus Abalona, who's exactly what his name suggests. It's the most insane name, I think, in these books. It's one of my personal favorites.
It's a great name.
And then we start getting more world building. So, like, Blues are running the ships. Grays are kind of the infantry. We meet Theodora, who is a pink, and she's like Darrow's like closest and most trusted, I don't know, consigliere. And Darrow thinks at this point that he's outmaneuvered Karnas, but he has not. Karnas has in fact outmaneuvered him. Darrow's ship gets obliterated. His friends survive, kind of at the expense of his pod, but he saves himself and Theodora. But sadly has to fly his little escape pod through the wreckage of all of the carnage that Karnas created of his ship. Back at the academy, it just gets worse. The Bologna family, led by Karnas, jumps Darrow. They beat him up, humiliate him, and they pee on him. I hate how they do that in these books. It's gross and weird.
They love to do it.
But it turns out
Sexual
it's all
assault.
recorded and it gets spread and his reputation is wrecked. So politically, he's in a terrible spot. We learn that he's on the outs with Nero because of all this. We meet Leto, who is Nero's not biological heir, but kind of his golden son. Not where the title of the book comes from, but use it when you can. And then we meet Pliny, who is Nero's right-hand schemer. And it's clearly found out that he helped publicize Darrow's attack and he has it out for Darrow. Almost done. There's a lot of political maneuvering. There's a lot of name dropping on this guy called Lorne. And Darrow is feeling increasingly isolated and abandoned. Then the bomb, figuratively, drops. Nero plans to sell Darrow's contract. And unfortunately, the only people who would want to buy it are people who would buy it just to kill him or enslave him or just destroy him in general. So they all have to head to Luna for a massive gala, and Darrow's very unsure of his fate. On his way, he gets a mysterious invitation from a secret benefactor, potentially. So he gets disguised as an obsidian and is taken into the underbelly of the city, and that's where we leave off.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
Okay.
Can you hear me snapping?
I can.
That was good.
All right.
That was a great.
But it did leave a lot out. I mean, there's a lot
I have
going
one
on.
note. I have one
it
note.
certainly did.
Oh, I'm not accepting notes. Moving on. No, go ahead, Nick. What's your note?
So this is actually why when I was like looking back and seeing, I was really disappointed that part 1 ends here because I believe we leave off like right as they're going to the gala, which I guess isn't really a note. I took it as you were saying he was still in the underworld, but
No,
they're
he
like
is.
going into the gala.
No.
He is still in the underworld.
Not
You're
busy?
talking about the end of part 1. I'm talking about the end of chapter 6.
Oh, see, I blew it
Yeah.
again. We're recording early today and it shows.
We will. It'll be impossible to situate Nick in space and time. He's going to be 6 chapters ahead no matter what we discuss today.
Wait, we're on
I
Dark
wanna-
Age?
I want to dive into this
Prologue.
interesting montage. Not the prologue, but should we?
No, go ahead. I think the prologue is kind of just, reminding us. I think it's pretty weak sauce, right? Nothing important.
It's the weakest prologue.
I'm not trying to make like a line in the sand. I'm just saying we can skip it.
Okay, so I have a take real quick, Craig, that I was going to say till the end, but I'm going to lead with, and it's going to be like the overarching theme for me.
Okay.
I think this is my least favorite part in any of the books. And I'm halfway through Dark Age, and I think this is my least favorite part in any of the books.
Wrong.
Fair.
All right.
Go ahead, Greg.
We'll return to it. Craig, what's your
It's
opener?
so good. It's so good. Well, I had an opening question, but now I have to respond to fucking Nick. It's incredible. From in book 1, Red Rising, it becomes very cinematic once we make it through the passage and into the actual institute, right? Like great authors do this, right? We are seeing what is happening, even though we're reading or listening. It gets even better. Chapter 1 of Golden Sun, being on the bridge, surrounded by his peers, the Karnas striking him. It's just, you can see the whole thing. The moment where he grabs, what's the pink's name? Who's his-
Theodora.
Theodora, and like he's thrown 30 feet across the room and smashes a bulkhead. It's, I think it's incredibly strong. I love everything about it.
Okay.
That's my take.
I thought it was good because I thought like part of why I also thought it was good is because like from the academy, God, from the place he was
Yeah.
in before, he just I don't know, we kind of got used to him always winning. So I really liked that this started with him like thinking that he had won because like I don't know, Darrow's ego is massive. But then it's like, haha, no, you didn't. And it just starts with like, okay, this is like real life, real world. Like things are not going as you like expect or like assume that they will. So I liked it because of that. I thought it was a good like shift from his wins to like, okay, let's have him struggle. Well, yeah.
I think I fall in the middle. I like pieces and parts, and then I felt like there were other pieces and parts that felt like a slog. There's a lot of like, to me, it seemed like there was a lot of political like explaining in the next part of part one, like the jackal scene, it's a lot of it's just there's like two
Oh,
real in this part, there's like two really long monologues, I think, and like one of them is in chapters 1 through 6, and I think it might be like Nero or Pliny. It's
and
like
Pliny.
when they're having their little like talk in there, and I'm just like, oh brother, all right, let's move it along. But there is some good action too, so I kind of go both ways on that.
I feel like it's the quiet moments where we learn so much about who Darrow is and what he's had to become and how he's navigating the world without any help.
Mm-hmm.
And we get a lot more quiet moments. In book one, it was just
Yeah.
Darrow and Mustang snuggled up. That was the quiet moment.
Lovely.
Yeah, lovely. Well, lovely is fine. I love it. I love
Okay.
it. All right,
Well,
I'm gonna pivot to
open
my
us up.
question.
Yeah.
How do we feel about all these characters introduced in the very first chapter? We get like 7 favorites, and we get some new introductions. Roke is back. There are mentions of Severo being in Pluto, right? What's her face? Who's Roke's love interest?
Quinn.
Quinn, yeah.
Quinn.
He talks about Quinn.
Victra, everybody's favorite
Yes.
female
I
lead.
do have to say, I think I mentioned this earlier. I forgot how much older she was than them. I keep like
Yeah.
rereading it. I think I have a note like, oh, holy shit. I thought she was like their age or like maybe 2 years older. I forgot it was like 7.
I think this
I
part
love
is
a
funny
cougar, though.
because you said cinematic. I think it's almost like sitcomic a little bit because you're like, not in a bad way. That's not a criticism, but like Darrow's on the bridge, right? And it's just like on the bridge. And you're like, yeah, Darrow. And then it's like, what do you think, Roke? And then you just feel like Roke come in and the audience be like, yeah, Roke. You know what I mean? And then it's like, and then Tactus like makes a quip and it's like, Panda Tactus, he's back. Like, so I like it.
I did not think about that.
I don't think it's a
It
bad
is
thing
kind
at
of
all.
like that.
I think it evokes sort of what that tries to evoke, which is like, hey, this is the characters you know and love. Like, let's get into it. And
Yeah,
then
very
there's some new ones
Shakespearean.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny you should mention that because for all my gripes with this part, which I mean, it's still good. It's still good, right? We're talking about my least favorite part of a very good series. But for all my gripes, I think Pierce does a really great job of bringing you back into the universe that
Yeah.
you're in. And like I think it is Sam, like you mentioned, it is kind of sitcom but it is also kind of cinematic. And it's one of the few books I read, and it's like, oh, this feels like that like those opening scenes of a new like a second movie or like
Yeah.
honestly it reminds me of the opening scenes of Two Towers and Return of the King, how those open. Not trying to compare it specifically to those because I know those are masterpieces, but it gives me that feel.
Rude. It is a masterpiece.
No, I think
I
so
mean,
too. I think it has the benefit that the first book didn't have of being able to just jump right in because it doesn't have to do all the world building from scratch. So you get half and half. You get like, here's what you know, and then here's what's new on top, which is really helpful.
I will say, though, that I think one of the reasons why I dislike this part so much is the academy. I hated that as we were jumping back in, it was, oh, look, here's
Another
the school
school.
again. And also, this school just decides to kill tons of people because they can instead of doing an Ender's Game style thing where it's all fake.
I have a question
Yeah.
about
No,
that.
no.
Wasn't
Trek.
it supposed to be
I don't think
fake?
that's true.
I thought,
It is all fake.
but I mean,
No, it's not.
the
the-
283 people are real, but it was not supposed
Yeah.
to be real, right?
You're not supposed to ram other people's ships.
Yeah, Karnas just kind of.
Yeah.
Karnas broke the rules,
Okay.
which Darrow talks about. He's like, I shouldn't have been surprised that I changed the paradigm
And
that
they
they wouldn't
adapted.
evolve.
Right.
Yeah, adapt. Thank you to do it. So that wasn't
Okay.
supposed to happen.
Okay. Because I was like, yeah, he was like, this is all fake. But then I'm like, wait, but
That's
you
why
just
he
killed.
thought he won. Because he's
Yeah.
like, I won, fair and square. And then
Mhm.
he's like, not. But he didn't really. Did Karnas experience ramifications from that action? I mean, it
No.
does.
No, he won.
No.
Yeah, it continues to like reinforce the gold mentality.
Mhm.
And now that you mention that, it's actually that's interesting because it's a nice juxtaposition between him doing that and Darrow winning the Institute by
Yeah.
means that were probably not illegal, or that were probably not legal in terms of the game or the school or whatever you
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah.
So it's a subversion of that in a way.
So
Yep.
masterful. Now it's your favorite few chapters.
I still take issue with it because of everything you guys were saying about how we're seeing Darrow in the real world. It's like we're not, though. It's still
A
a
school,
controlled
I
environment.
see.
It's still a school. And also it was like we come from the like, oh, magic school trope to right back to the magic school trope. So I'm like very
For
glad
like
it was
5
just
minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say very
exactly.
briefly. Yeah, like it,
But then
Nick
once you get
already
out of that,
you said in a previous episode that you just don't like the beginnings of the books
That's
because they're
true.
Yeah.
like dark and awkward and he's in a bad place and you don't like to read about that.
well, it's not just that, okay? But it's mostly that. But yeah, I mean, in that we go his first actual taste of the real world, which I mean, it is probably really great storytelling, right? I mean, it is great storytelling. Is that it's bad for Darrow? It is his fall. It is his what do we call it? Where like basically
His
he's
Achilles heel.
yeah, and basically he's shamed the House Augustus,
Oh, that
and
yeah.
yeah, he's trying to figure out how not to be killed by the Bolognas. And he
or
gets beat
anyone
on.
else, really. Yeah.
And it gets beat on.
Yeah.
Chapter 2 this is my favorite part of this intro-ish bit before part 1B.
B.
In this first, A. So section A. What we're talking about right now. His ship gets rammed.
Mhm.
He saves Theodora. His friends leave without him in his emergency pod. He has to run through the ship, and we see the terror and fear of all these lower colors as they like cling to him for safety. And he's saying in his mind, like, none of these people are going to make it.
Yeah.
Then there's this gray that teams up with him. They're trying to shut the door to his room, and an obsidian like blocks the door, right? And it's trying to get in. They kill the obsidian. They kill some blues. The door shuts. And then we get this moment where like there are 4 seats. You get 2, right?
Yeah, this
and
is
the
with a
grays
group
have
of
to, like,
blues. This is with a group of blues.
Grays.
And a gray.
Grays.
I have the blues.
I think
I think
I think
I
there were
thought they
2
were
blues
all
and
mixed.
2 grays because
Okay.
or
Oh,
there was
really?
something where I thought there was more than one gray because I thought Craig is going to mention how one gray betrays another.
I thought they were
But
all
anyway,
grays.
this is neither
but
here
yeah.
nor there.
Yeah, sorry.
tell us in the comments.
Were they 4 grays?
Also, shout out.
Here's a juicy
I
thing for
meant
the
to-
audience to comment on.
Yeah, go to page 13.
I think it might be grays because I think the blues would stay in like the
It's grays.
whatever the
Yeah.
thing it's
Okay.
called. It's not a
Listen,
cocktail.
I
They have,
listened to
like,
the
their-
audiobook, so you can't trust anything I say. I absorbed 45% of it.
A shout out, by the way, to Brian, and Jack for commenting on the podcast.
All right, Brian,
yay.
and
Little
Jack. Shout out.
BBJ.
BBJ. Yep, that's what we always call him.
Shout out to them who are really frustrated listening to this moment right now.
Once again, it's
So
early
true.
today.
It's really
It is early.
Okay,
All
so
right, and
you
then we get to the
shows.
final.
they have to
this
decide
incredible
who's
moment.
going on the pod.
Okay, yeah, Craig, back
Right.
to your
and
whole
so they
point.
figure it out. One kills another. It's a hard moment. But we get to this moment where Darrow is watching Karnas's ship float away into the darkness. He gets into a star shell. He's going to fire himself across space using his own math. And in the very last second, his controls go dead and the proctors override his ability to do it. Right. And so he sees Karnas's ship sort of float into the dark. And he knows that not only has he lost, but what was the number, Liz? 800?
283.
I thought it was 800.
What was it?
800 and something.
883?
Anyway, a bunch of people died.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that.
Damn.
And
So
he
anyway,
like
I
is
love
realizing as he's bumping up against debris in space that it's the
833.
833.
Ooh,
Wow.
thank you,
I had
Nick.
that so
So-
low.
There's a fun inconsistency, but maybe it's not an inconsistency, and you can correct me on that. Why would they let Karnas do that, but not Darrow?
break the rules because he just did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Just because he
Well,
did it.
Darrow was about to just do it too,
Well,
but
I
they shut
think
off his controls.
Darrow would have just it wouldn't have been as glorious as I think. I think it would have just been a suicide mission, and they didn't want that.
Would it have been a
Well,
suicide
Darrow
mission?
has done
There's
that
some lovely
before,
foreshadowing
right?
here. But also now that you mention it, Liz and Craig, it's like this is an excellent bit of foreshadowing for I believe later in the book.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So fair point there.
Yeah, it's quite good.
May I back up purely to go on a feminist rant on page like
Please.
2?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So this will be short, I promise. But we meet everyone's favorite character, Victra. And she's a very sexy and hypersexualized character. I don't necessarily have like fundamental issues with that. What I
Or
hate,
Darrow thinks she is.
because it's his POV. I think the way
Right.
it's described is pretty.
Yeah, I think
I
she
think it
leads
is.
into
I
it.
agree. Okay, I'm just being the devil's advocate.
I think she's pretty overtly out there with that, and
Okay.
that's
But
fine.
that's a
More
good idea
power
to keep
to
in
her.
mind. We are seeing this from Darrow's point of view.
Yeah.
This is
From a literary standpoint, I hate, and I will point this out every time it happens, and it will happen again, when mouths, hips, or other body parts are described as sensual.
Oh, this
Do
now
not-
brings this
Do
now
not
brings
come to
Craig's.
me with sensual lips, which is the first way Victra is described.
Yes.
It is
that's
a
true.
useless adjective that actually means nothing. Like, what do
What are
sensual lips
sensual
look like,
lips?
guys?
Yeah.
They look like they
I
look
have no
Sensual.
good.
idea.
That's what sensual lips are. Like, it's a useless adjective. It's bad. It's poor writing to me. I'm so sorry, Pierce. And it's not his fault. Everybody does this. Do you know how many? If I would have a bingo card full at this point, almost every book describes a woman's hips or lips as sensual, and it drives me absolutely up the wall. So,
Okay,
just wanna
one.
point that out.
Excuse me, one. I have to apologize here to Craig because he actually made a really good point that this is from Darrow's perspective.
Oh.
So Darrow.
So
So this is all Darrow's
Yeah.
fault. Okay.
Yeah, it's all Darrow's fault.
Darrow
Also,
thinks they're
too,
sensual.
I mean,
No, I think Victra's is just like a. But I mean, so wait a second. Are we not? Throughout the whole series, Victra is described this way.
Yes, and
Even
it's
when she's
lazy.
like 9 months
It's,
and 2 weeks pregnant.
Don't tell me that she has sensual lips. Tell me that like her lips are curved in a way that blah blah. This is a criticism of the
mhm.
writing, not of the character. I love her character, but
And that's a
I'll say this
very-
to Pierce. I'll say this to anyone who uses this word. It just grates on me because it's. What does it mean?
that's a very good point. And I have a quote from Dark
You know,
Age
that's a
that I
great
actually
point.
just read.
Yeah.
Which, with no spoilers, the quote has no spoilers in it, but it's one of it's a different POV. That's a spoiler. But basically, someone is described as having a widow's peak that could chip the ice that they're standing on. And to go from you have perfectly shown me what you mean by that,
Exactly.
as opposed to what the hell is a sensual lip.
Maybe
Yeah, and
That's a good point.
Okay.
yeah.
devil's advocate. I guess maybe I hadn't actually thought about that, Sam. That's a great point. But I wonder if they just use that as to your own imagination. It is lazy writing, actually, because I'm like
It's
devil's
lazy.
advocate, but I'm like, because then it's like whatever anybody thinks is sensual, then picture that as like Victra.
It's lazy and it's a trope because everybody uses that. It's very common. A lot of people use the word sensual to
Yeah.
describe women. Have you ever heard it to describe a man's features? Like rarely. And if so, it's still lazy.
Let's start.
Here's
Let's
start.
say.
His sensual lips.
His sensual lips.
That just sounds.
This one.
Honestly, we should go back because Mateo might have been described this way. But if he
Oh,
is,
that's a
always,
good point.
Smart.
Ooh,
it's always
there's
kind
another
of to
character.
like, to position someone near femininity. It's
Mhm.
never like describing something masculine.
That's true.
Okay, I think the only men described that way are pinks. I had another character in mind, but
Well,
let me
we'll
think about
see.
Also,
that.
I wonder.
Lord
I think
knows
there
I
I'm
might
wonder.
be.
I
I
think
think there might be one gold, but it's a spoiler. Sorry, Liz, you had a point, and
I
I
was just gonna
babbling.
clarify. I think what I had said, one of like the first episode or something, where I said I believed it was Pliny and Leto that were with Nero as he was in the mines. I don't. After rereading their description, I no longer think that. So I have no idea who was down with Augustus when he was killing Io. Because from the description that Darrow had of them, I don't know if it's because now he's a gold, he sees it differently. I was like, those don't correlate to who I thought they described as a beautiful person standing next to Nero. Yeah.
Isn't Leto beautiful? I thought it was them. Leto's
Well, I thought
beautiful.
it was Pliny, because Pliny is described as being like a pixie.
Well, he was called
Pliny.
womanish.
Yeah,
So there's a womanish, and then there was like a good-looking gold. Like I thought I'm
Okay.
in like
Because
masculine.
maybe
there's,
Pierce didn't have any
Uh,
idea who they were yet.
Okay, maybe. Because, yeah, as Darrow describes them now, he described Pliny as like, I guess because he knows his character too. He's just like,
Mhm.
he's just this like slinky. I was like, oh, okay.
Slinky. All right.
Slinky.
You can describe Pliny as slinky, but don't describe Victra as
No.
slinky. Actually, I feel like slinky is a good one. That I
Slinky
draw
is a good
something
one.
from that. So slinky's
yeah.
fine. I will allow it. Okay. Anyway, let me see if there's anything else I wanted to cover on
There's a
that.
fine line between
Oh.
sensual and slinky.
Nope,
Nick,
that's it.
to your account of,
Yeah.
sorry.
I was just like, yeah.
Oh, to your account of what's his name, Roke, and how he's not great. I saw so many examples during this first chapters that I was like, wait, now I'm like tracking that like he was full on like how did I not see that he would lean gold? Because the
Me
comments that he
too.
made, I was like, okay, like he just was not
Those were my
phased.
next notes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they died for a cause.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
was just so casual about all of that. I was like, okay, I can.
It is there the whole
I
time,
know.
and you
Yeah.
can't unsee it once you
I
see
know.
it.
And he's also so, like, missing on what's making Darrow upset because he's literally trying to cheer him up by being like, "It's a game. Just relax. Hey, whether you win or
Yeah.
lose, bud, it's how you play the
Right.
game. You're fine."
Yeah.
And it's to us and to Darrow, it's callous, it's cold, it's
Mhm.
so many words, but to him, it's just it's reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I guess to a point of it's not him, it's gold. It's just what he's always known. But I think there are other characters that show that that is a fallacy to just blame what he's known and blame gold and not blame him for thinking that way.
Yeah.
And I think Craig probably has feelings about
I love Rogue.
that.
Even now.
Yeah, no, I mean, even now, I I think we can easily look back only in hindsight. I
Yeah.
think only in hindsight. Not the first time
Yeah.
when I read this did I think to myself like Rogue is a slime ball.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
He's trying to be a good friend. Rogue of all the friends
Yeah.
is like maybe as loyal as Severo up until a point.
And that's
That's a
where
spoiler.
the first person POV really, like, gets us because Darrow, like, at this point is putting him almost above Severo as well because they're in close proximity, but he just, like, talks about how he feels Roke is such a brother at this point. So we as the
Mhm.
audience are also in
Yeah.
on that,
Yeah.
feeling the love.
Unreliable narrator.
Well, I guess, but
He
I mean,
he's
well, look at
being
it.
reliable, he's being truthful about his feelings.
yeah.
Well,
I was.
but I mean, go ahead, Liz.
Oh no, I was gonna say, is it unreliable? Is he just like expressing how he feels? Because
Oh.
to him, Roke hasn't done anything that will like make him question. Like he's just kind of like, okay, yeah, he's my brother. I mean, yeah, that's what I took from it. But Dare is also very trusting. Like, and we'll get into this in the next part. But even his conversation with, what's his name, Virginia's brother, and
Adrius.
yeah, and how he
Uh-huh.
was just kind of like eating it up, and I'm like, why would you? I don't know. Why would you trust anything that he says? Like, you should always be on your guard around this person. And yeah, it's just Dara's way. Too
Yeah.
trusting.
So here's the thing about Rogue. One that is a very interesting take, and I want to come back to that throughout the series. Like the fact that Darrow could be too trusting when we know who he is and what he comes from.
Mhm.
It's interesting, and I think I agree with it. But I want to come back to moments where we see that.
We'll track it.
But on the subject of Rogue, for one more brief thought, I it's interesting to me because for Rogue, Darrow, or for Darrow, Rogue is loyal. Rogue is this good friend, and we see this theme throughout the book of Darrow feeling like he's the bad friend. But when you look closer and on a reread, like I do agree, it's probably only on a reread. But when you look closer, all the pieces are there to say it's kind of the other way around. And Rogue, how loyal and how good of a friend can you be when Rogue will always put gold over any friendship?
Would
When
he?
do we see him do it
Yeah.
though?
Yeah.
He would put it over
Never
a friendship
once.
with a red.
Yeah.
I think that right there, the scene you mentioned in the academy, he's doing it. By as someone who's supposed to be this poet, supposed to be so empathetic, he looks at Darrow and he thinks he's only sad that he lost because how could a friend be sad that other colors died? And I know that's a foreign thought to most golds, but I think we see other characters who are gold that actually sympathize with that thought more
Virginia.
than Rogue does. Virginia, Severo, I think,
The
and
weirdos.
yeah,
The outcasts.
outcasts.
but
Yeah.
there are others too, but I don't want to. Well, I'll save those for later. But just keep an eye on that because I think there are things that, like, really, first read, it's hard to see, but the pieces are there to say that I don't think Roke is as good of a friend as we're led to believe.
I disagree entirely.
That's
I
fair.
think he's an incredible friend, and Darrow is. We started this in book one. Darrow does a lot of betraying of others, and is in turn betrayed. Darrow betrays the trust of Roke constantly, and it's brought up as a theme in the book by Darrow. And other characters close to him, that like you got to keep Roke close. Same with Tactus, actually. Like share intel, share what your plans are.
Okay.
In the very first chapter,
No, I was going to say the Tactus thing. I actually had the opposite thought when I was reading it because like first Tactus leaves him and they take the ship, leaving Darrow like to fend for himself. Granted, he does explain that like, oh, I thought you were dead, but you didn't try looking for him. Like
No, he knows what happened
no,
there. That
fully,
was
yeah. And then like even on the train ride, making all the jokes of like, I just think Tactus was. I actually had the thought that like maybe Nick was right. Like Darrow should have killed Tactus as soon as he had like when he had the chance. He should have gotten rid of him because he did nothing but make his life worse. And then when Darrow tried to show him like, oh, I can be a friend. Here's this like violin or whatever it was that like kind of reminiscent of your childhood that your brother's like destroyed from you. He's just like, what the fuck? And like sells it and buys drugs and is living his like he's just Taxis is just there for himself. So I don't think he was
that's a
good
great moment.
friend. Yeah.
I love the detail of Darrow going to Quicksilver's auction house and buying a Stradivarius violin for half of his bank
I
account.
love that.
Mhm.
Love it.
And
Love
then
it.
what
Is that
happens?
in this part? I don't think that's in this part.
Oh, sorry.
thought
Oh,
Okay, never mind.
that's okay because we're not going to
Is it-
remember to say it again. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's
Finish
true.
the
Go right
story.
ahead.
It's minor to the plot, but it's such a great detail.
Yeah, which I love
So
that. How many
good.
minor things are
So
such
what
great
happens when he
details.
buys the Stradivarius or whatever it's called?
Well, yeah, Tactus sells it
Yeah.
for drugs and pinks. You know?
And he like doesn't understand why he's being gifted it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a discussion, maybe not in this part, but in the latter part about like why that would be. Like why is Tactus the way that he is? You know, we get very much into
Because
like
he was bullied by his
nature
brothers?
versus
Yeah.
nurture. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, Darrow to
I was waiting for
Justin.
some big reveal, and it's kind of just that he was
Yeah.
bullied by his brothers.
It's like, okay, so we're like
Yeah.
half of the other people. But yeah.
I'm still stuck on Roke.
I know.
Well, there's
You know-
a big Roke moment in part B, which we can get to
There
next episode. So
is.
we're not leaving Roke. This is his book, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
This one and the next one.
I
It
did
really
find
is.
it interesting. Sorry. I was just going to
Go ahead.
mention I found it interesting because Darrow did this to Roke. I'm pretty sure in book 1 where he clarified that he owned something or like he was like the one that did something, and Roke clarified that in this book where Victor is like, oh, our ships and stuff, and he's like, Darrow's. Like I was like, that is such a weird, like, okay, like we must follow the what is it called? The leadership, yeah, the hierarchy. And it's like, no, it's not ours, it's Darrow's. So I don't know, broke again.
Because he's a good second in command.
I want to go back to a
Um,
point you made, Craig. Who has Darrow actually betrayed?
Cassius
How?
I mean,
lied to
he
him
lied
constantly
to him,
about
remember? And
killing
they were
his brother.
friends.
And
Yeah.
here's the
Listen
point
to
I
your
want
own
to make.
podcast, Nick.
Yeah. And here's the point I want to make.
Listen to the podcast.
What choice did he have?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's not a betrayal. He chose
is a
to
betrayal.
betray.
Yeah. He did make him believe it was Titus, and that is a bold betrayal.
Yeah, he purposefully made him believe
That is
that it was Titus.
You could also say, if we're talking about friendship, and he believes that he has genuine friendships, which could be argued, that lying about who he is a form of betrayal, you know?
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I understand that. And I think this also gets to, sure, Roke might be a fine friend, but Darrow's got better ones, clearly.
And can you
And that's the
have
thing,
friends? That's my
the-
argument. Can you actually have friends when you're not who you say you are? Yeah, you're not you. So how can you have a friend? Like, he's in a impossible position to build friendships, in my opinion.
Which is an excellent theme of this book. And I think Pierce is telling us that it is possible. It's a very fine line to walk, but I think it is possible. But it does get to the point of, I mean, it's not like Darrow could have told Roke who he was.
Well, we're confusing loyalty with friendship. And I think we can't throughout this whole series,
That's fair.
right? Severo is a perfect example. And it gets gray. You know, like, is Severo a friend or is he just loyal? And same with Tactus. Is he loyal sometimes? Is he a friend?
Sometimes.
Darrow wants him to be.
Yeah.
Which
Right?
why? I don't understand. That's one I
Yeah.
really don't
Well,
understand. It's like,
that's
why
a-
do you want to?
I don't know that Darrow wants to be his friend, like, let's braid each other's hair. I feel like Darrow just doesn't want him to be an enemy and he needs to keep him close in order for that to happen.
But Darrow just
That's what you
feels
were saying
bad
before,
for
right,
him.
Craig? Like, he tried to be his
Well, his-
friend, he got him the violin, and then he was like, oh, we're not friends. Like this.
Yeah, but I think it's the same thing as like when Darrow loses at the academy. He feels sad about it, even though he says to everybody that he doesn't. But truly, obviously, he does feel sad. It's the same thing with friendships. Like
Mhm.
he is saying out loud, this is a part 2 thing to Victra. Tactus is not my friend. He sold the Stradivarius and bought pinks and drugs. I think he wants to be his friend. I don't know the motivation for why.
Just not being lonely, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think
we
he
shouldn't
just-
hold Darrow to a standard higher than humans. Like, he wants
I-
companionship.
And I think he just feels bad for Tactus. I think it's like he sees how sad he is, and I think he's just, well, maybe if I bring him into my fold and he will just be better. I think he sees him being really smart, really like all these things that Tactus clearly is just like dealing with some insecurities from his brothers and all of that. And I think Darrow just wants to be his friend, to be nice.
Can we take some time before we wrap up to make sure we talk about Nero and Pliny
We
and
have so many
Leto?
things to talk
Yeah,
about.
like
Yeah.
and we'll be back on friendship for sure.
For sure. All right,
Yeah.
the Bologna beating up Darrow. 7 Bologna against Darrow, including a full legate of the society, Kellen Bologna. Carnus, shout out to Tim Gerard Reynolds, the voice for Carnus Al Bologna is so good.
God,
I can't do it.
The fly so high in mud you lie when he reads
In
that
mud
line.
you
Oh my
lie.
God.
It's really good. Kind of like, I would say Mickey is one of the best voices and Carnus is one of the best. And maybe Apollonius, when we get to Apollonius, is one of the best voices. So good. Anyway, they beat the heck out of him and they leave him in the mud. I don't know if we need to say more about
They
that.
pee on
Honestly,
him.
no.
But yeah.
They pee on him.
We got there.
Quick
Yeah.
shout out to, I think this was in the grab bag episode. I want to hype myself up again. Once again,
Shout out to
Cassius,
myself.
Right.
Cassius is not honorable for defending these assholes. Like,
Noted.
sorry, that was a bit more intense than
Noted.
that was a bit more intense than I meant it to be. But like, it's very interesting to have Cassius be that big figure of Bologna in book 1, and we're just shot in the face with Carnus. And it's like they're outwardly presenting as such different humans.
Yeah, and we'll have a great conversation with Carnus in part 2.
Yeah.
So
I do think
So good.
I just want to mention about the beating. I think that it was probably the first time, well, maybe probably not the first time, but I think it was like when Darrow realized how serious the Bolognas actually are about like this blood feud and just like getting revenge on him. I feel like he just like lived sometimes in La La Land and didn't realize the severity of it until this beating.
I mean, come on, dude. This is the second book in a row where a Bologna has left you lying in the mud.
And it's so much more than a
Figuratively or
beating.
literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he can handle the physical violence. The issue is that it like wastes his political potential within where he worked so hard to be with Nero. Speaking of,
Yeah, so speaking of, then we have this whole chapter, which is what you were complaining about, Sam, a whole chapter of monologuing
I said-
between effectively just Pliny and Augustus.
Yeah.
Mostly Pliny.
Mhm.
I said that Nero is an expert in unhinged, self-aggrandizing monologuing, which I might have actually copied and pasted from last
That's
book.
That's a great quote.
Because that's exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
Like, it was just
But
blah,
he's
blah,
a-
blah, blah, blah. Me.
It's a boss battle, you know, like he
Yeah.
he is
It
Mars,
is.
you know, so like he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
Where's that
This
music
is
coming
very
from?
mafia, Godfather. Yeah, like
I love it.
Yeah.
It's
I
also.
love it. And
Go ahead, Greg.
well, I want to so on the topic, my constant topic of throwaway characters, let's get into it. Leto,
Let's talk about Leto
yes.
because
Is-
I didn't remember Leto at all.
Oh.
And
Throwaway character.
so good.
talk about Leto
That's because he's a throwaway
Yeah.
character.
and why he's so good.
He's the potential of what like Leto is kind of in the same box for me as like Cassius, Roke,
Mm.
Tactus. Like these
Yeah.
could be best friends of Darrow. Such potential. Like Leto seems like a nice,
Maybe a good
Yeah.
guy. When
yeah.
we were talking about remorse, he did feel remorse about all of the 800 people dying. But I have the quote. Pliny tells Leto, "There's no guilt, not when you're the judge." And Leto's like, "I guess you're right."
Well,
Like,
Pliny
he feels
did
remorse,
raise
and he's
him.
like, "You got a point."
I know he's sitting in front of his boss.
That's true.
You know, like his adopted father. Um, I don't know. No, I love the character of Leto, and we'll have to bring up Leto again later on because
Because we
He has
won't
some
have an
parts.
opportunity later.
again, yeah.
Yeah, like this is the
I-
time, June the
This is
Baker.
going to sound weird, but I'm going to want to talk about Leto when we get to Iron.
Okay,
Okay.
fair enough. If we remember him by then.
Yeah, it will be long gone, and I'll be like, Leto, who?
But the point of this entire chapter is to show Darrow has fallen from grace, and effectively by extension, what the Sons of Ares are doing, bombing everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we see Augustus say, kidnap some Reds, threaten their families, have them do suicide missions. I want to see dead blues and greens in the streets, you know? And then we'll see how Reds feel about that girl's song, the
Yeah.
song of Persephone.
Yeah, they're dealing with additional terrorist threats that are popping up. So
Yeah.
that's one of those little things that's just peppered through this chapter.
Yeah.
I think this chapter is really fun, and as someone who's been a vocal critic of this part, I think this chapter is really fun because we get to see that this is our first real interaction, like one-on-one with Nero, right? Aside from the end of book 1, but I don't think we should really count that. That was in
No,
public.
that's very true. This is him like
Um,
in his element.
And we see he's the same exact person. He is the same person as that one that was monologuing. It's the same regardless. That wasn't a show. That's who he is. And it's great.
He is a governor.
It's great.
He's like,
He's a
yeah.
governor. Yeah, he's of a whole planet. His quote at the very end of that chapter is perfect. Does anybody have it?
No.
I would have to get
The
to it.
last line. Wait, I can.
Of chapter 2?
Darrow is like, "You can't leave me. I was second. Do you want me to leave you like Mustang has left you?" And Augustus turns to him and is like, "My enemies embarrassed you, so they embarrassed me, Darrow. You told me you would win, but then you lost, and that changes everything."
Oh, you are
right?
reading it. I was like,
I just read it. I just read it. You guys
I
know that
found it in my
quote?
book, and I was like, how did he do that?
This is the first time I've had the book up on
Okay.
screen. So anyway,
Yeah. So yeah, amazing stuff. And they have a conversation that's really interesting about, they're talking about these terrorist attacks and is it Ares? And they're bringing up sort of flippantly like, how do we know Ares is a man? How do we know he's
Right.
not a
yeah.
woman? But there is an interesting quote that they have that says something along the lines of, no roughneck ruster would follow a man or a woman who's never ridden a claw drill. So that's how they know it's
Because
gotta
they're like,
be,
we created them
we
to be that
created
way.
them to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Insane.
exactly. Which also, like in the first book, we were talking about why Darrow, if he doesn't even give a shit, and it's like, well, I guess that's why, because
Yeah.
they knew just it doesn't even his personality doesn't matter to an extent. Like they needed a profile of person.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
We brought up the throwaway protagonist in Nito. I think we should also bring up the throwaway antagonist in Pliny because I think he is an excellent antagonist. And I'm not going to say he is a Grima character because there's more to Grima than just being
that's a
s-
great reference.
I think he's a Grima. He's a Grima character.
He's absolutely a Grima character.
But-
Politics, snake.
Yeah, but also I guess it's more that
a Lord of the
Nero
Rings
isn't
reference.
Nero isn't Theoden. Nero, I guess he kind of is in a way, but Theoden is like Pliny can't get to Nero the same way Grima did Theoden. Is what I'm trying to say.
I see.
Well, was Pliny trying to get to Nero? Like, was he trying
fair,
to?
Craig. Craig is making a face. Sorry.
What were you saying, Liz?
No, what was your face for?
I think you guys were thinking the same thing.
Well, Grima's a really good comparison. I was trying to think of the quote that he says about Gandalf Stormcrow. Anyway, let's keep it moving.
That's a great quote. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Stormcrow.
Yeah, really good. Anyway,
Just question, my liege.
yeah.
What were you gonna say, Liz? This
No,
podcast
I'm
should not
loving
just devolve
this.
into quoting Lord of the Rings the movie.
I don't remember.
You were questioning whether Pliny
Oh.
was trying to get to. So, what is
To-
Pliny in your view? What is his motivation?
That's a great question because I guess I didn't pick up on the like he wanted to like I guess I didn't assume that he had grander plans than just like getting Leto to be Nero's like prodigy and then he would have that kind of control over Leto. But I guess I didn't put 2 and 2 together. That then I guess then what would he need Nero for? He could just then get rid of him. I just didn't think about that.
Pliny is just how's it put in book 1? Potential energy, not kinetic,
Mhm.
which is what Nero is effectively, what Leto is, what Darrow is. Like a real scar or a peerless scarred is kinetic energy.
Mhm. And Pliny is not peerless, correct?
No, no.
Correct. They kind of rub it in
Okay.
his face a couple times.
They do.
I don't see your scar.
Right.
Looking for a scar. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Last thoughts?
Well, now
we got a lot
need
more.
we need Pierce to come onto the podcast and tell us if Pliny was in fact inspired by.
I think that the dark assistant is a pretty.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
mean, you
It's a
got your
common theme.
Jafars. You got.
Grimm's fairy tale.
There's
Goes
always
bad.
like a henchman. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like Pliny as one. Like, I think he's a good one. It's fun. Maybe it's more like I'm trying to think of like the Game of Thrones analog because there's not as much like magic as Lord of the Rings or Aladdin. But I like it when they don't have the ability to have like a staff that hypnotizes people. Like he is using political maneuvering, which I find much
His
more interesting
mind.
and more creative. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he
You-
set up
Yeah.
a lot
Our-
in motion, and we find out a lot about it in
Yeah.
part B of like what he truly does, which is wild.
It's very good.
He hates
All right,
Darrow for
ratings. Part 1, part A.
We haven't even talked about the going into the underworld part, you guys.
Well,
We
That
can open
happens-
with it
That's-
next.
Yeah, that happens, I think. if
Okay,
you
so
want.
we're
Yeah.
not getting to chapter 6 today.
Oh,
did
gosh.
we end on chapter 6?
Yeah,
We were
chapter
supposed
6
to.
is
We
called
are now to
Icarus.
chapter 4.
Yep. And so the chapter 6 is where Victra approaches.
With
Darrow.
the mystery.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. And so I believe she dresses him up like an obsidian in this chapter.
Yeah.
She has a
And-
luminous face.
Hey, we're also skipping a point that I think Craig is going to like.
What's
Oh.
that?
It's the whole Roke offering to buy Darrow's contract is in the chapter before
Oh,
that.
very sweet. What a
Mhm.
good friendly thing to do.
Is it though?
That happens in the next part.
Oh.
That happens in the next part.
What? Does it
I
really?
thought it was on the
Mhm.
Oh.
drive.
It happens
thought it
right
was-
before he goes to the gala.
Oh, I thought it was in the when
I
I
think
think
he
he
mentions it.
mentions it, and because at the time he's like, my parents can't, and he's like, oh, but I'll try to like figure
That's right.
something out. And then on the drive to the gala, he's like, they couldn't help me, but I've got
Oh,
this
okay.
sorted. Yeah,
Okay, that's fair. I guess that chapter is more Darrow wallowing in his own pity.
yeah,
of,
and Tactus.
woe is me, I'm going to be killed.
Yeah, and they're making fun of
Okay.
him and taking bets of like, how long do you think he can last?
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
fair. Okay. So back to Victra.
Victra just takes him, puts him in an extremely elaborate disguise,
Mhm.
and
He's an
then
obsidian.
puts him in a starship and takes him down. And he's when chapter
We do
7
need-
opens, he's still going down into the bowels of Luna.
We need to mention deep cut for the people who have read ahead. What's the name of Sunwa?
Yeah,
The
Sunwa.
gray-
Oh,
The gray, one of
We
the
can wait
12
until
grays.
next part. Wait, is it?
Why? Isn't that
I thought
this
that was-
chapter?
No, this is this chapter.
Is it?
Yeah,
Really?
chapter
Yes.
6.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nicholas.
Yeah, I'm just
Did
gonna
you even read the book?
Stop.
Have you read
Apparently
the
not.
books?
Oh, just
Did
mute
you-
me
did
the
you
rest of today.
annotate?
I'm muting myself.
Anyway, Sunwa
That's
makes an
funny.
appearance. I did not catch it. This is my 3rd or 4th time reading.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunwa makes an appearance again in book 3, I believe.
I don't.
Also a throwaway character.
I remembered the name, which is more than I can
yeah.
say
What
for Leto.
page in this is Sunwa mentioned? I like did not catch that.
46.
Oh,
Yeah.
How do we
She's-
bring back Sunwa but not June?
justice
exactly.
for
June the
June.
Baker. Shout out.
Honestly,
We might see her, you guys, because I don't think we were really looking in our last reads.
probably
I think
not.
hold out hope.
That's true. A Sunwa watch?
No, a June
June
watch.
Oh, a June watch. Okay.
All right, let's rate and then move on. And
We'll rate.
yeah, let's rate. I think I gave, what did I give? The first part of book 1, I think I gave a 3. So I'll give this a 4 or 3.5.
but this is only chapters 1 to 6, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, a 3.
These chapters.
I rate these
Yeah,
chapters.
I'm
a
with
3.
you. I'm a 3.
I'd give it a 2.5. I thought it was like good build.
Oof.
build up. I think the second half of
50%?
this, yeah, I think the second half is like also like really good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're building.
Yeah.
We're going to build
We are
up to a
building.
5.
In that vein, I'm gonna go with like a 2.
Oof.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not that it's bad; it's that everything else is better.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
out.
Bye.
See you guys later.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of Red Rising. On our next episode, Nick reestablishes his dislike of Roke and possibly converts us all from Roke admirers as we discuss Darrow's meeting with the Jackal and his reunion with Harmony, Mickey, and our favorite bird, Edie. Once again, if you're Pierce Brown or anyone else and you'd like to tell us how wrong we are, you can reach us at thehowlerbookclub@gmail.com or find us on Instagram @redrisingbookclub.